Do you guys follow all the rules with your Toyota Tacoma? You know, there are a ton of rules out there, some for good reason, some like peer pressure, and I don't follow them. I gotta say, I probably haven't followed any of them. I don't know. Let's start at the beginning. You know, when you first pop open the manual, if you look at what you're supposed to do and not do with your new Toyota Tacoma, you're not supposed to get on the brakes very hard in the first couple 100 miles, something like that. You're supposed to ease into it. I don't do that. What about acceleration? You know, I'm an acceleration junkie. I like to go. And I've got to say, you know, when I go do test drives and stuff, particularly in Tacomas, I've always nailed the gas. The salesman never says a word because, of course, they're not going to. They're trying to sell you the vehicle. They're not going to scold you for driving the truck a certain way, right? But when I get in the Tacoma, at some point during the test drive, I nail it. I floor it because I want to see how it feels. You're not supposed to do that. It's a rule I'm breaking. With the new Tacoma and many, if not all, new vehicles, you're supposed to vary the speeds, not jump on the gas pedal. Let everything seat properly. I break that rule on every vehicle I ever drove. It's crazy. Another thing, tire pressures. You know, you're supposed to keep your tire pressures inflated to a certain point, either for ride quality or, more importantly, I guess, is fuel economy. The more air you put in them, the higher your fuel economy is supposed to be, to a certain extent. Obviously, you're not going to bloat them up so high that you're bouncing through the bumps and over the roads and stuff, but you're supposed to keep them somewhere, kind of an unwritten rule. I don't do that. I put them where it's comfortable for me. That's where I determine they need to be. I don't concern myself about fuel economy rules, right? Another thing, and this is one that's a peer pressure rule. If you have a Tacoma and you're not out running it off-road, getting it filthy, beating the hell out of it, you're not supposed to mod it. You're supposed to keep it stock, the way that it comes, because you don't deserve to mod your truck if you're not doing those things to it, right? It's one of those peer pressure type rules. And you hear about it sometimes. It always cracks me up how concerned people are about what other people are doing with their money in their vehicles. I had a comment the other day. Somebody's dogging me. Well, you go out and you buy a new truck and you keep it for not very long and you trade it in and then you buy another one. And while you're doing that, you're spending all this money on mods and things that you don't need and you don't use, and they're like scolding me for doing what I want to do with my money and my truck, right? Why do people care so much? Is it just an overt nosiness? They just can't stand it? Is it jealousy? I don't know. Maybe some of these folks want to do these things to their trucks, but they either don't have the funds or they don't have the skills, or maybe they just don't have the knowledge at all, or maybe they're just uptight. That's what I think most of it is. I think some people just can't stand to stay in their own lane, to stay out of your business, and they've got to push their beliefs on you. And boy, is that big time in the world right now, right? We got people telling you whatever it is, to do this, do that, don't do this, do this. And it's only because it's what they believe. And of course, what they believe is right. That filters right over to the Tacoma. They believe that what they think is the way that it should be, and you shouldn't be doing these things. Let's talk about oil changes. You want to get into some controversy. Oil changes. You know, the manual basically says under most conditions, normal conditions, you don't change the oil for, 10,000 miles, something like that? And Toyota won't change it for free until you hit that number, or 1 year, whichever comes first. Unless you live in real dusty conditions, or maybe you do a lot of slow start and stop type driving. Speaking of start and stop, did you know the new Tacoma's going to have that lovely feature? I wonder if that increases the need for oil changes. I mean, if you're constantly starting and stopping your engine all the time, are they changing the manual so that you get more frequent oil changes? I don't know, but there's a big controversy out there. Everything from once a month. I had somebody tell me they change their oil once a month. Once a month? I'd hate to see what their oil change bill is, but hopefully they do it themselves, so at least they're not paying the labor once a month to do that. And then other people, $3,000, $3,500, $5,000, $10,000. Personally, for me, and I know this is my belief, so I'm going to tell you, you do what you want. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what I do. And that's once every 5,000 miles or once a year. It depends on how much you drive your vehicle. And that's another kind of comment I get on the channel. Oh, you don't drive it, you don't put any miles on it. Well, I have 2 other vehicles. Driving time is split between 3 of them. Of course, no one vehicle is going to have a ton of miles on it. I'd have to drive them at the same time. Maybe we hitch one up to the back of the Tacoma and pull it around with me. Maybe I could have a whole train of them, be like a road train, just so I can get enough miles on those vehicles to satisfy the trolls out there that think they have to tell me how much I need to be driving, right? Another thing, this is another one that's interesting, the cleanliness of your Toyota Tacoma. And it kind of goes both ways. Either it shouldn't be clean because it's a truck and it's meant somehow to be dirty. Because it's a truck, even though you spent a heck of a lot of money on it, it should be filthy dirty all the time. The second is completely the opposite. If you're not keeping your truck sparkling clean all the time, you're not taking care of it, and you don't deserve to have a Toyota Tacoma, even though it's your money and your choice. But that's what they think. I don't know. It's very odd, very strange to me. The last one that I'm going to mention is different models, different engines. This is something that's going on right now with the upcoming 2024 Tacoma. If you buy the 2024 Tacoma with the 4-cylinder turbo engine in it, something's wrong with you. You are not a real truck driver, because real trucks have bigger engines in them. You should not buy anything that has a 4-cylinder turbo. It's just not right. Now, there are probably, maybe, some valid arguments to that when it comes to towing and maybe longevity due to the turbo. The big belief is the turbo will go maybe 100,000 miles, maybe not, and then you're going to have to do something with it. We shall see. It all depends on how Toyota has engineered this new truck, and time will tell. We don't know yet. That's why it's a lot of guesswork, and that's probably what's most irritating to me when I see some of those type comments, is you don't know. You're basing the longevity and future record on the past older designs. If we did that, we'd be going back to the horse and buggy days, right? It's just craziness to me. Anyway, those are just some of the unwritten and written, in the case of the manual, Tacoma rules that I break, and some that people just don't like. Leave a comment, let me know. What have I left out? What are the other rules of the Tacoma out there that I'm unaware of? Maybe I'm breaking one right now. Oh, I'm sure I am. I'm talking to a camera while I'm driving. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.